Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are answering a question that probably causes more frustration than any other in golf.
Oh, for sure.
How do you hit that high-spin chip shot? You know, the one that lands soft, takes 2 hops, and just checks up right next to the pin.
That's the one. It's the ultimate confidence booster, especially when you need to save par.
Yeah, that buttery soft control.
So we took a deep dive into the source material, the technical analysis, the swing mechanics, and the takeaway is, well, it's absolutely clear.
What is it?
Generating that kind of spin is not about muscling the ball. It's a very precise technical recipe.
So forget that big heroic chop.
Exactly.
Our mission today is to distill that recipe for you. And what we found is that it all comes down to nailing the interaction between 3 key variables.
That's right. It's loft, speed, and angle of attack.
And if you miss one of them, the whole thing just falls apart.
It does. But when you get those 3 elements working together, you get real command around the greens. Those difficult up and downs start to feel, almost routine.
It's the difference between just hitting a chip and actually playing one.
I like that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Where do we start? What's the most critical ingredient?
It is unequivocally loft.
Loft.
In the short game, loft is the primary engine for your backspin potential. The reason is actually pretty simple.
Okay.
At the slower clubhead speeds you use for chipping, you don't generate enough force to really compress the ball. So you have to rely almost entirely on the friction created by the club face.
And friction needs the ball to ride up the face.
Precisely. The ball has to stay on that face and run across the grooves for as long as possible. That maximizes the interaction that creates spin.
Which means you need a high-lofted wedge, a 56 or a 60 degree.
You do. But this is where we hit the first huge wall of misconception.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Most golfers, in an effort to get clean contact, are taught to press their hands way forward.
Right. Handle ahead of the club head. I mean, I've been told that my entire life.
And look, for a low-running bump and run, that advice is perfect. But for this specific high-control shot, it's a spin killer.
A spin killer. Why?
When you press your hands that aggressively forward, you instantly reduce the effective loft. Your 60-degree wedge suddenly plays like, I don't know, a 45-degree club.
So the spin potential is just gone, right for the strike.
Drastically reduced. The ball comes off lower, it runs out more, and you lose that ability to check it up quickly.
Wow.
To maximize spin, the sources are all insistent on this. You have to maintain that loft by keeping your hands neutral, or maybe only slightly forward.
So you're preserving the loft the club was engineered to have.
Yes, you're letting the club do its job.
Okay, that is a huge insight right there. We're intentionally moving away from that hands-first instinct. Can you give us an analogy for why that's so important?
Yeah, think of a snow shovel.
Okay.
When you jam the handle forward, you're using the sharp leading edge. It's designed to dig into the ground. But if you keep the handle more neutral, you're using the wide, flat part of the shovel. It's designed to glide and lift. Your wedge face is the same. You want to use that wide face to create friction, not the sharp edge to dig.
That snow shovel image makes perfect sense. And the sources also mention slightly opening the club face.
They do. It's a subtle move, but just opening the face a little ensures the ball makes contact with the maximum surface area.
Yeah.
More grooves, more friction. It guarantees you're getting every bit of that 60 degrees of loft.
All right, so lock maintenance is paramount. That leads us right into the second variable, and this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Angle of attack.
Yes, because it seems to challenge everything we've been told. We hear you have to hit down steeply to create spin. Is that true for chipping?
That is maybe the most pervasive and dangerous myth in the short game.
Dangerous.
Absolutely. Because while hitting down steeply might work with a full 9-iron, for a delicate high-spin chip, it is catastrophic.
I'm picturing a lot of people trying to chop down on the ball right now.
And that aggressive downward chop creates 2 huge problems. First, it makes you incredibly susceptible to hitting it fat.
The dreaded chunk.
Right. The club digs into the turf before the ball. Your margin for error is basically 0. We've all hit that shot that goes 10 feet.
Oh, yeah.
But the second problem is more subtle. That steep angle, just by its nature, de-lofts the club at impact.
So even if your hands were neutral at the start.
The steep path takes the loft off anyway, so we're right back in that same trap we just tried to escape.
So steep and choppy is out. We need a totally different mental model. What's the right technique?
The focus has to shift entirely from chopping to
Not
sweeping.
sweeping.
All the sources define it as a shallow sweeping motion. You want to minimize your divot or ideally just bruise the top of the turf.
Okay, that idea of sweeping is great, but how do we actually do that?
Well, it starts with the setup. Your weight needs to be slightly forward, not, 90%, but just enough to promote clean ball first contact.
But shallow contact.
Exactly. But the real secret here, and this is a huge nugget from the sources, is using the bounce of the wedge.
That curved part on the bottom of the club.
Yes. You have to let the club's design work for you. If you swing shallowly, that bounce is designed to glide across the turf. It prevents digging.
So a steep swing uses the sharp edge, which digs in.
A shallow swing uses the bounce, which glides. For max spin and clean contact, you need to feel that bounce just skipping or sliding through the grass.
That sliding feeling, that makes so much sense. And it's the difference between a clean strike and a decelerated catastrophe.
It is. Which brings us perfectly to our third variable, speed.
Right. We've established loft is primary for spin in the short game, but acceleration is what makes it all work.
It brings it all to life.
But if speed isn't about raw power here, how does it fit in?
The role of speed is just fundamentally different in chipping. On a full swing, speed and compression create spin. In a chip, speed is about maintaining momentum and ensuring a clean strike.
A crisp strike.
Yes, the term the sources use is a crisp, confident acceleration.
So it's about the quality of the motion through the ball, not the overall clubhead speed.
Exactly right. Think of it like a firm handshake, not a soft pat. You need that firmness to make sure the ball gets trapped for a split second against the grooves.
Okay.
And the research suggests that the faster the club is moving through the ball, even just a little bit faster, the more friction you generate, as long as the contact is pure.
So what's the biggest pitfall with speed? I think I know because I catch myself doing it when I get nervous.
It's the universal error of the short game. It's deceleration through impact.
Slowing down.
Yeah. Golfers get scared they're going to hit it too far, so they instinctively try to slow the club down right as they get to the ball.
And what happens when you do that?
The consequences are just disastrous for spin. Your hands get flippy, the club face twists, and your contact point is all over the face. If you aren't hitting the sweet spot with those grooves, you lose all the control and spin we've worked so hard to create.
That makes perfect sense. That lack of commitment basically undermines the entire shot.
It does.
So the fix has to be just committing to a continuous accelerating motion.
Absolutely. You have to commit to it. A firm, continuous, and controlled motion. The key takeaway from the sources is this. Your backswing should always feel a little slower than your follow-through.
You're accelerating through the ball to a finish.
To a smooth, complete finish. If you do that, and you've maintained your loft with a shallow sweep, the club will do all the work. The loft handles the height, and the acceleration gives you the spin and distance control.
And you hear that perfectly struck sound, that little thwack, and you know you got it right.
It's instantly gratifying. The ball lands, takes that little hop, and just stops dead. Leaves you with a tap-in.
Okay, so we've covered the three pillars, loft, angle, and speed. Let's synthesize this for everyone listening. Let's review those three main pitfalls one more time.
Yeah, we can connect every mistake back to failing one of these three tests.
So, starting with trap number one.
Yeah.
Coming in too steep, trying to be too aggressive.
Right. This is the golfer who thinks power equals spin. Their downward chop gives them chunked shots, and it kills the effective loft at impact. They lose all friction and control.
And the fix we discussed.
Focus entirely on that shallow, sweeping motion. Think sweep, not chop. Practice feeling the bounce of the wedge just glide across the turf.
Okay. Trap number two, which goes back to our first section. Overly de-lofting the club.
This is that aggressive, hands pressed forward move. The result is just a low, running shot that skips across the green instead of grabbing it.
And the fix for that is?
Keep the hands more neutral. Let the club's natural loft do the heavy lifting. Don't fight the design of the club.
And finally, the big psychological trap, number three. Decelerating through impact.
This is just fear. It leads to inconsistent strikes, terrible contact, and a total loss of control over distance and spin. If the speed isn't crisp, the ball won't grip.
And the ultimate fix here is pure commitment.
Yes, stay committed. Focus on that smooth, accelerating motion. Make sure your finish feels a little faster than your takeaway. That controlled aggression is absolutely necessary.
So what does this all mean for you, the golfer? We started this deep dive looking for the secret to high spin chipping, and I think the summary is pretty simple.
It is.
The secret isn't power, it's precision. It's a specific technical application.
It's a deliberate balance. You have to maintain your loft, you have to ensure a shallow angle of attack, and you have to execute with controlled acceleration. Those three things are non-negotiable for getting the ball to start quickly.
And by applying these principles, you're going to gain so much confidence around the greens. You're not just hoping the chip turns out well anymore.
No, you're commanding the ball, you're telling it where to land and what to do. With a bit of practice, you can transform those tough up and downs into routine saves.
And here's the final thought for you to consider as you head to the practice green. The sources all emphasize that acceleration is crucial, not just for spin, but for clean contact and consistency. So if you were to practice just one thing, what is the single setup change or feeling you need to focus on to eliminate that hesitation and finally achieve that smooth, accelerating motion through the ball? That's the knowledge you can now apply to your very next round.